As we were walking around the bookstore, everyone had it in their hands. Like everyone was buying it. 600 pages in, that's not even halfway, but it's fine. I'm losing it a little bit, guys. I can't lie to you. I will say I am loving the role Spren are playing in this book. She's very much portraying a specific type of lifestyle that is just not really feasible. But I'm liking it so far. I'm just curious to see where we're going to go from here. Hi, my loves. Welcome back. Welcome to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. Today we have another installment, only the second installment. This is still a relatively new series on my channel, but we are finishing my entire physical TBR. I found these videos extremely helpful. I think they are so great to just let me tackle all the books that are on my physical TBR and pick up some that have been sitting there for like years, or I've just been like super intimidated to pick them up. I will say some of these I've been like super excited to pick them up, but these videos definitely help me like take down the number of books on my physical TBR, and it also allows me to kind of mood read but still tick off things. That's like the ideal situation for me. So as I literally just said, we will be like mood reading for majority of this vlog, but I have already started my first book. And you're gonna be like, Freya, you were literally so far into this book. Why have you only just started this vlog now? I have reasons, okay? And I'm going to explain myself. The first book we're reading is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. This is the fourth book in the Stormlight Archive series. I've been putting this off for a ridiculously long time just because it's such a thick book. Like how many pages? I think we're close to 1,400 pages, just under. So it's a thick book. It means I have to commit a lot of time to it. And every time I do a reading vlog on one of these books, they take forever. Like I feel like I'm talking so much. So I decided to start it. We're at page 650, chapter 45. So like a good chunk of the way through. And I'm just gonna give you all my thoughts now. And the reason I can just like give you all my thoughts now is I feel like not much has happened. Obviously we are following on from Oathbringer. And the thing about Oathbringer is the last like, I want to say quarter of that book was some of the most intense writing, I guess, I have ever read in my life. Like I was on the edge of my seat that entire time. And I feel like it left off in a point that there are a lot of loose ends, but they're not exactly climactic loose ends, if that makes sense. They're just kind of things that like, oh, I wonder what will happen to that. There was a few obviously that were like really itching, but so far this book has kind of felt like a bunch of lore and information and filler. Like I didn't know we needed more lore in this world. I thought we already had a lot of information, but apparently we needed more. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the fourth one, but if you don't know what the Stormlight Archives is about, start with Way of Kings. I also always get questions on where to start in Brandon Sanderson's universe. Now, I don't consider myself a pro at all because I really haven't read that many of his books compared to like how many there are. But I always suggest starting with either Mistborn if you want a series, that series is amazing, or Warbreaker for a standalone. Then you can work your way up to like these chunky books. The Stormlight Archive as a whole is basically just set in this very war-torn world where we are following kingdoms that have been kind of on the verge of war and like having these invasions and everything for years and years and years now. We are following, I would say, three main characters. We have Shallan, who is a researcher turned more prevalent in this plot. We are following Kaladin, who is a slave turned soldier, and Dalinar, who is just like the kind of head of everything, very high up politically. Three very interesting perspectives, and so far each of those books have kind of been focusing on one main character. So last book we were focusing on Dalinar, but this one we're focusing on a character I wouldn't expect. I'm not going to say who, but it's definitely making it a kind of interesting experience. Not a lot has happened though. Really not a lot has happened. It has just been a bunch of information, a bunch of lore dropping. I'm enjoying it still. Like it's not been hard to read by any means. I'm still really enjoying being back in this world, being back with our characters. I love them so much. So just reading about them, doing not much is fine for me. I will say there's a few points that's kind of made me angry. Like we've had a few character arcs or key character points that I just didn't expect, and I don't know why they're happening. I don't know. I feel like if you've read it, you'll understand when I'm saying that, but I'm not obsessed with them. I do get that they're gonna like change and develop in this situation. Like they're going through a lot. I will say I've grown to love Adolin. I love him as a character. He is so fun. But yeah, at the moment we're really just getting more lore, and it's like kind of almost a come down from last book, like come down from the third book. It's just, there was a lot that happened, and we're just watching the aftermath of that. I'm guessing this is going to be a build up to the next one. Thought we'd just start halfway through. As I was reading it, I went to update you, and then I went to update you again, and I was like, you know what? All I'm saying is that we're getting a lot of information put on me here, and I actually can't talk about it too much because that would be a spoiler. We're gonna see how we go. I feel like it's gonna pick up from here, I hope. 600 pages in, that's not even halfway, but it's fine. No, I'm excited. I'm excited. So this is the first book we are starting with, and then we'll see where the rest of the video takes us. Guys, I guarantee you're going to like hate me. Okay, not only have I severely cracked this spine because it was needed, okay? It was needed. I don't know how this has happened, okay? This is never, ever, where was it? Happened to me. I was just sitting, reading, minding my own business. Actually, I was lying down, so it was kind of hard to hold the book. I just have to show you. How has this happened? Actually, I'm so cross with myself. I don't know how it happened though, because I almost dropped the book, and as I did, I guess I just like held onto this page too hard and it just fell out. I will say these bindings are flimsy as they are. Like, it's pretty hard, but I have moved past that, and I'm just going to have to be really careful with the rest of the book, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that page, to be completely honest. Like, do I just leave it? I'm not really sure. We have made good progress, I think. We're moving on from the page falling out, by the way. I'm just going to get depressed if I think about it too much, because already it's like ruining it. We have made good progress. I will say though, I feel like I am finally hitting the point where I'm like, okay, it's starting to drag on a bit. How many pages are we in and that's happening? We're like 850 pages in and I'm like, okay, it's starting to drag on a bit. So I feel like that's not too bad, but I feel like this part of the book definitely could have been condensed a bit. There's definitely been some fight scenes and stuff that have had me on the edge of my seat, but as a whole, we are definitely getting a lot of lore. What's odd about this book is that we are getting insight to a lot of characters that like new characters, or, you know, characters that we haven't had a lot of lore to. And I understand why we're getting that insight and everything, but it's weird to not be with our main kind of characters again. I feel like the first 3 books were very focused on our kind of main 3 to 4 characters, and it kind of felt like each of their books. Like the first one was very much Kaladin's book, the second one was Dalinar's, and so on. No, second one was Shallan's. We very much like delve into a character in each book. This is the first book where we're definitely delving into a character. I'm not going to say who, but we're definitely delving into a character that I didn't expect. And I think it's good. It's adding a lot of depth to our world. But like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this was already a detailed world. We already had a lot of depth and my brain's starting to hurt a little bit. This is just a lot of lore and information in this book. Yes, there are a few fight scenes to kind of break it up a little bit and some action to kind of keep your typical war-torn world action, like invasions and everything like that. That does break it up a little bit, but I feel like we are just getting so much information dumped on us and it's a little bit overwhelming. It does hurt my brain a little bit. I have been switching in and out from the audio, but I've been mainly mainly reading because I've only got limited hours on Spotify. So I want to read as much as I can. I feel like we're definitely making progress. I'm going to try and get to page 1100 if I can tonight. Page 1000 would be great, but 1100 would be even better because I have set myself the goal of I have to finish this tomorrow because my friend is coming down and we're going to be buddy reading Yes Dear together, and I don't want to be reading Rhythm of War and like dragging that into the city and dragging that around with me while she's here. So I'm determined to get it finished tomorrow, and I figure if I have like just over 200 pages left, I think that's very reasonable for tomorrow. I can get that read. But yeah, it's been a lot. I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed. I don't know how I'm going to go tonight. I hope I still am bringing information into my brain because my brain's feeling a little bit, don't know how much room we have left in there, you know? This is giving second book syndrome. It is the 4th book in the series, but as I said, it's just a lot of lore and a lot of information, a lot of build up to the next book. I don't know if the ending will have your typical Sander launch towards the end. Like, I don't know if we're going to have this dumping of action. I hope we do, but I'm not exactly sure. At the moment, I'm pretty surprised that it's taken until now for it to really slow down for me and for me to push through, because I feel like until now I was pretty like easily breezing through it. I was having a good time. Maybe it's because I know that I have to finish it in like 2 days, so I'm like getting a little bit stressed. I don't know, because I don't usually set myself like timelines for books. Obviously, it's just circumstances. Oh Oh my gosh, guys, it is quite a lot later. We are well into, I think, part 4, I want to say. I'm a bit lost. I'm losing it a little bit, guys. I can't lie to you. I think we're into part 4. What's interesting is, obviously, every single book in the Stormlight Archive is separated into parts. What's slightly different about this one is that the interludes feel a little bit shorter. I don't know if that's just because I'm used to them by now, because in between each part we have interludes from either different characters in the Stormlight Archive or just relevant POV switches, I don't know. But I remember the first few books I would always struggle in the interludes because I feel like I would finally be getting into the deep end of the story and I'd be really enjoying it, and then we'd have like an interlude for 50 pages or something like that, and I'd be like, okay, I just want to get back to our characters now. So I don't know whether they're shorter in this one. They feel shorter. The chapters feel really short. So we're definitely getting back to our plot a lot quicker, which is funny because I feel like this is the one book in the series that I feel like the interludes could be longer and I wouldn't really mind. It's also good because now I kind of know the characters that we get in the interludes. Can I just say, we have such a big cast of characters now. I am struggling. I was putting in the audiobook earlier when I was making dinner and I was like, oh, who's this person again? Because a lot of them have very similar names. So when you listen to them and you've been used to reading about them, you're like, wait, which one's that? It's very confusing to put all the pieces together. This book as a whole, we just have such a big cast. Like, obviously it makes sense with such a big book, but yeah, it's kind of getting difficult to keep track of them all. I will say I am loving the role Spren are playing in this book. I feel like they've really upped their game. They've upped their influence in this situation and I love it. I really, really do. Syl is literally my favorite character. No, do you know who else is my favorite character? Adolin. I love Adolin. He is so good. He is so patient. I love how like witty he is. I just like being in his perspective because I feel like it gives a really refreshing perspective. Everyone else is really serious all the time. And he takes things seriously, but he does have a kind of refreshing perspective to be in. And I feel like at the moment everything is so serious that it's quite nice to have that kind of different perspective going on. For a page update, we are at page 1025, chapter 80. So we have made it to page 1000. I will continue to read in bed a little bit tonight before I go to sleep, just to see how much further we can get in, make it easier for myself tomorrow. Kind of miss some of our characters. As I said earlier, like we are getting more from characters we don't usually get. And to be honest, I'm like, oh, I kind of miss our characters. Like, I'm kind of missing our key characters. And that's not to say they've disappeared by any means. Like, they're still there. I kind of want more from them. I miss them, you know? Also going through very intense character arcs at the moment. I don't know whether I like them or not. Guys, I feel like I'm just really overwhelmed tonight with all of this, but I am enjoying it. It has picked up a little bit since I last talked to you. It's been a little bit easier to read. I do think this is so far, I feel bad saying it's my least favorite in the series because I'm not enjoying it by any means. Like if I wasn't, I wouldn't be reading it this quickly. It's kind of sitting on the same realm as Way of Kings for me. Like I'm enjoying it, but I feel like it's just a lot of information dumping. The funny thing is I do feel like it wasn't necessary for me to be talking to you this entire book because otherwise I would have been saying most of the same things. So I'll probably update you tomorrow when I'm close to finishing it. I hope. It's obviously the next day. I have been listening and reading as much as I can today. So we are at page 1205. I'm going to finish it. I'm sitting down and I'm going to finish it. I feel like this action has been kind of different. It's definitely been climactic. Like things have happened, but not in your typical Battlefront kind of sense that I'm very used to from Brandon Sanderson. It's been a very different kind of structure. I don't really know what to think. I don't know where we're going to end. What I will say is I'm loving how much Wit is being in this. I love having Wit as more of a main character. I feel like he definitely has played a bigger role as the books have gone on. I'm enjoying it. Like, it's not a bad book by any means. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's gotten really, really dense, and I feel like it's been a bit of a push to get through. But anyway, we're going to sit down, read it this afternoon, and try our best to finish it. So I did end up finishing Rhythm of War. but it's actually been a few days since I've talked to you, and the reason I didn't film it and film my reaction, which I feel like you didn't miss much. The ending was definitely good and I really liked it, and I'm really curious to see where we go. It's set up so much for the next book. Like, there is seriously so many questions I have now. I'm just curious to see how it's going to play out, like that kind of thing. But I feel like my reaction wasn't like, let's say, as intense as Oathbringer or something like that. So I did end up finishing it. I'm really, really glad I finished it, guys. I am so glad. But it's been a few days because I ended up hanging out with my friend, my long distance friend, who came down into the city, and I was with her for a few days. So it's been a few days since I finished it, and I literally finished it the morning of her arrival. I got up early, I was reading it, and then I went to the airport to pick her up. Overall, I did really, really enjoy it. I think it got super better. No, it's got a lot better towards the end, especially like the last half of it, I want to say. I would say the last quarter of it was really, really good. Definitely caught my attention, and I was just kind of binging through it as much as I could. There was one part that kind of shocked me. It was one part, but I'm also just kind of used to Brandon Sanderson's way of writing now, and I'm like, probably shouldn't have been as shocked as I was from that. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give it like a 4.25. So glad we got it done. So glad. And it was kind of interesting because Dawn Shard, the novella that goes before it, I feel like wasn't as relevant as Edge Dancer was to Oathbringer. So the novella that comes before Oathbringer. I do think it's worth reading Dawn Shard before going on to Rhythm of War. I think it gives you some background. I just feel like we just had such a big cast of characters in this one, and it made it a little bit harder to really get invested in certain storylines because the gaps between each perspective were quite big. They were quite intense. So I think that definitely limited my connection to these characters. But overall, I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit of a slog at times. There was definitely so much lore we learned. There was definitely a lot going on that really you could get bogged down in detail in a sense. It probably could have been shorter. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really, really excited to go into Wind and Truth now. I think the setup for it was so good. Like, it was done so well. I'm very curious to see what Wind and Truth is going to be like. For some reason, I have this like gut feeling that I'm going to get through Wind and Truth quicker because of the setting. Like, if you've read it, you'll understand. And just like the timeline of things. I think I'm going to be a little bit more inclined to get through it because of that. So I'm really excited. I'm not going to be reading that this month, obviously. 2 Brandon Sandersons in 1 month would be intense, or like 2 Stormlight Archives in 1 month would be intense. So when I was with my friend, we actually did started a buddy read, I guess, of our next book. And it is a book on my TBR, and that is Yesteryear by Hara Claire Burke. Now, I believe this is her debut novel, which is insane. Insane debut to put out, because this is literally put everyone in a chokehold. It has taken over the internet. It's where every single person is reading this. Even when we bought this, so I bought it a while ago, but my friend hadn't bought it, and we went to the bookstore, got it. As we were walking around the bookstore, everyone had it in their hands. Like, everyone was buying it. So I did start it in the city, but I am only, I think, about 100 pages in. I'm not sure if you can see that. But yeah, I'm not very far into it. Definitely started in a way that I didn't expect. So all I knew going into this is that our main protagonist, Natalie, is like this trad wife influencer. She depicts this very traditional lifestyle online of like living off the farm, making your sourdough, being the mother, and the father does all the work, that kind of thing. Well, she does work, but like as in housework. And raising the kids. I think she's got like 6 kids or something. And then she gets transported back in time to when tradwives were like actually a thing. Like, in the sense that we get transported, I think, into the 1800s or something. And she starts to experience the reality of what this role would actually detail, if that makes sense. So the kind of harsh truths of what she's portraying and influencing online. What is a little bit interesting to me is you don't get a lot of insight into her day-to-day lifestyle. So the whole idea is that, yes, she's putting on this persona for the internet, and she has this whole influencing thing that she's doing, but a lot of it is fake. Like, there are industrial grade ovens in the background. She's got a lot of helping hands. It's almost like a reality show. Like, she's got a producer. There's heaps of farm hands. Like, she does not do everything herself. Like, she puts it on, and everything that's filmed is staged. She's very much portraying a specific type of lifestyle that is just not really feasible. Yeah, what is interesting me though is that we really didn't get a lot of that lifestyle before we were transported back in time. And she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't really know that she's back in time. She's like, is this a reality TV show? I don't know. It was very much just only a few chapters of her lifestyle. And I was like, I kind of wanted more of that. Maybe we'll get it later in the book. Maybe I'll learn more. I'm not sure. But at the moment I was kind of craving a little bit more of just like what her day-to-day looked like, because that was really interesting to me, having like this whole persona, and all of it is just not true. So yeah, I was kind of curious about that. I hope we get to explore that a little bit more. I've also heard that this is like a psychological thriller vibe, so very curious to see where it's going to go. This afternoon, it's a Sunday as I'm filming this, so I've got a Pilates class. I'm going to go to my Pilates class, come home, have a nice hot shower, get into PJs and read this all night. I am so excited. I hope we can finish this tonight, and if we do, I'll keep updating you, but very interested so far. I feel like Natalie as a protagonist is very interesting to me. We're definitely delving into the sides of like religion, but like then traditional to modern Christianity and everything like that. It's delving into a lot of things. So I think it'll be a really interesting, intriguing read. It's also very easy to read. Like it flows, suddenly you've read like 50 pages and you thought you'd been sitting down for 2 minutes. Last night, I ended up reading a little bit more. We got up to chapter 31, which is page 220. I'm starting to understand our timeline, our time jumps a little bit more. It is like really odd kind of time jumps we're dealing with, like not what I was expecting, if that makes it. I don't know how to explain it, but there are some, odd time jumps, and they're not clarified extremely well. I feel like the more you read, there are certain aspects from each, I'm trying to say this without spoilers, but there's certain aspects from each timelines that begin to like act as a point of clarification and like a point of, oh, okay, now we're in this timeline, because it's not stated very obviously. And that was definitely throwing me off for a little bit. I feel like it was taking me out of the book a little bit, but I think I'm starting to really get into it now. I think sitting down and reading like a good 100 pages definitely helps. It just makes you so much more immersed in it. I feel like I had certain expectations going into this book. I don't think they were like crazy unrealistic. I wasn't like, this is going to be the next best thing, a new 5-star read for me, which by the way, I realized I haven't had a 5-star read in over 2 months and it's making me really sad. But anyway, it's not anything insanely incredible and I'm not getting 5-star feels from it so far, but I'm not enjoying it. I feel like our protagonist is very much just kind of in the unknown. She's also really mean. She is so mean, which I don't know why I didn't expect that, but God, I feel like it's such an interesting thing though, because she's got such a big following, but like you just have such a very idealistic view of them. And then I'm like, wow, she probably comes across as so nice in her Instagram content and she's like so mean to everyone else. So I don't know, very curious to see how this is going to play out. Not only are we delving into the sides of like religion and like modern Christianity to more traditional Christianity, everything like that, we're also delving into this whole idea of like the manosphere, which is something that like intrigues me in an awful way. I'm like, I hate it, but it's a very intriguing kind of concept, and we've only touched on it briefly, but I'm hoping we get a little bit more insight into that and how that impacts family dynamics, relationship dynamics, everything like that. Because one thing our main protagonist keeps going on about is how she wants her husband to be like this very manly, traditional man, for like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, you know, no soft edges. You know, he's not an emotional person, but I feel like that's starting to bite her in the back a little bit for wanting that. It's a very thought-provoking book. I'm liking it so far. I'm just curious to see where we're going to go from here. I truly could never have seen that coming. Like maybe at the very end of the book, I think it was kind of hinted towards, and like I think if I paid more attention, you might have been able to maybe pick up little hints. But what? Honestly, that ending made me enjoy this book so much more though. I was like, okay, this book is fun, it's easy. And then like towards the end, I was like, oh no, I'm actually really enjoying this. Like, where is it gonna go? And then that ending just blew it out of the park. That was ridiculously good. That was so, I want to say out of pocket, but in the best way possible. Like, I'm kind of just stuck thinking, what did I just read? And I want to like go back and see if I can figure it, like were there clues? I don't know. I really should have been prepared. Like literally every single person I talked to was like, you're going to be left staring at the wall after finishing this. And I was like, yeah, okay. That was not what I was expecting, but in a really, really good way. It was a very different direction to what I was expecting. I almost was expecting more psychological thriller because everyone had said it was a psychological thriller, but then this was more like a commentary with thriller elements. I'm not sure. I really loved how we delved into like a lot of the sun just went down. Very prominent and important issues that we are dealing with today. The sun really can't make up its mind, I'm so sorry. But really a big part of it was looking at modern Christianity and like how it can be interpreted in different ways and everything like that. But then another big part of it was looking at like the manosphere and how that is impacting people, like not just men, but it's impacting society. And then just looking at like different backgrounds and like believing these different things and having this position of power and how that influences your life. Like there was a lot of very strong points explored in this. And I think that made a really big impact and was really thought-provoking. Like it was also really interesting to see it talked about, because I feel like the things that I kind of almost see hinted at and you see on social media, but you never see talked about in literature. And I really, really liked that. So I feel like overall, I want to give it a 4.25. I really enjoyed it. Definitely didn't give me 5-star feels. There were moments that I think made it a little bit less. I think like the plot progression overall, the structure of it was really, really interesting. I'm so glad I read that. I'm so glad I got that off my TBR, but like not really got it off my TBR. I'm kind of like, wow, okay, now I don't have one of those books that like everyone's talking about that I want to read. I love when you have one of those books. It makes it really exciting. For our next read, I definitely can't go into another fantasy yet. I think I need a break. I was going to go into a different thriller or something, but one book that has been sitting on my TBR for a ridiculously long time is Summer Island by Kristen Hanna. And one of my goals for the like winter/autumn period was to read more Kristen Hanna. I know that this one is one of her not as known ones. I think it was republished or like a new cover came out of it recently, or last year rather. I didn't realize how many books she had, by the way. When I was looking at this list, like they're all her books. That's insane. I have only read The Nightingale. And I feel like the other ones that are really talked about are The Women, The Great Alone, Firefly Lane. They're the kind of ones that I hear a lot of people talk about, and I do really want to get to them. But I figure I should start with the one on my physical TBR, get that off. I don't really know what this is about. I know that it's like an interesting family dynamic. It says, years ago, Nora Bridge walked out on her marriage and left her daughters behind. She has since become a famous radio talk show host and newspaper columnist, beloved for her moral advice, while her youngest daughter, Ruby, is a struggling comedian who uses her famous mother as fuel for bitter, cynical humor. When the tabloids unearth the scandalous secret from Nora's past, their estrangement suddenly becomes dramatic. After Nora is injured in an accident, a glossy magazine offers Ruby a fortune to write a tell-all about her mother, and Ruby returns home under the pretext of taking care of a woman she hasn't spoken to in almost a decade. I have no idea what it's going to be like. I do know that the text in this is absolutely massive. Like, look how big that is. So I think it'll be an easy read. I plan to just sit down and binge it this afternoon. So let's see how far we get in. I am just under halfway. We are only 170 pages into this, but it is such an easy read. You can just binge it. And as I said, the text is so big, really not that long. I do think it's just under 400 pages. My first thought that I want to talk about is the fact that I am new to lit fic, okay? I'm new to contemporary fiction. I am still exploring the genre. I want to say I touched on it last year. I dipped my toes into the genre, but I've definitely been reading a lot more of it this year. However, the thing is that I have to keep reminding myself. I was reading this book and I was like, why doesn't she just call her? Or there'll be little things where I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. This was written in 2001 originally and then republished in 2025. So it feels very dated. Once I remembered that like this probably wasn't published in 2025 when I received it, that made a lot more sense. I was like, yeah, okay, we're not talking about modern day as we know it. It's more like it's the 2000s. That was more also playing a massive role in the fact that our main protagonist, Nora, well, I guess one of our main protagonists, is a radio show host. And there's this whole kind of debacle that's going on, this whole situation. People are getting really, really intense about it and they're getting really, really cross at her. And I'm like, guys, come on. she's a radio show host. Like, then I remembered radio shows were obviously a lot more present in 2001 than they are today. Anyway, just a little good few facts that I needed to be reminded of. Overall, I'm enjoying it. It's a very easy read, as I said. It's not the most incredible book I've ever read. Like, definitely enjoyed The Nightingale more. This isn't historical fiction as well. So a lot of Kristen Hanna's books that are really, really popular are historical fiction. I will say, I feel like I'm getting really irritated at our characters. I am getting really irritated at Ruby. If you've read this, I feel like you'll understand. Basically, Ruby and Nora are kind of put into this situation. Nora hurts herself and she needs a carer, and Ruby, for various reasons, ends up agreeing to care for her in their summer house, Summer Island. Ruby's not happy about this though, and basically Nora walked out on her family when Ruby was just a teenager. We don't know why. We have no idea why, but Ruby like holds a lot of resentment against Nora for that. And it's just kind of the point where like Ruby's now 27. It's been over like 10 years. And I'm just to the point where I was like, I would love for you guys to sit down and have a conversation about why this happened, because like she's had, you know, we've had instances with Nora's therapist and clearly there's some trauma that needs to be debunked there. He even like mentioned that to Ruby. So I'm just like, I feel like you guys need to just sit down and have a conversation, and that would solve a lot of issues rather than just going around and hating each other and making these well, no, Nora's not. She's like kind of just putting up with it. But Ruby keeps making these snide, snarky comments, and I'm like, girl, like, I totally get you being sad and like it's awful, but I can't with these like snarky remarks. It gets a lot. It really does. And I'm just like, I feel like you guys just need to talk. We also have clearly a bit of unpacking of Ruby's past to do on the relationship sides of things. Coming back to this island brings back a lot of memories because this is where she spent a lot of her childhood. We're getting close to 200 pages through, and I'm hoping to get some answers soon, or at least just get more pieces of the puzzle to start putting them together, and for me to actually care about our characters more. That's another thing. I want to care about them a little bit more than I do at the moment. Anyway, we'll see how much more I can read tonight. It'd be great if I could finish it, but hopefully we'll finish it tomorrow morning if I don't. As you can see, Maisie really wanted to be in this shot, so she's going to be here while we do our final book review. But I ended up finishing Summer Island by Kristen Hanna. It was a good book, but it wasn't anything amazing. It just felt really, really surface level. I feel like we were dealing with some quite intense and could be really great topics to explore, but I feel like we were just on the tip of the iceberg. Like, we were exploring some really complicated family dynamics and relationship dynamics and learning to love yourself, all of those kind of things. And like, they're all really great topics to explore, but I feel like it was just not a lot was said about them. Or what was said about them was in a very obvious way. And I think that's what kind of hit me towards the end, because there was this quite emotional scene towards the end, and it was emotional until everything was said really obviously, and I feel like if it was more just implied, that would make it more emotional. I don't know if that's gonna make sense, but I just think sometimes when you imply things and look at someone going through something but without stating the obvious facts, that makes it more emotional, and that makes you be able to connect to it a little bit more, because like in life, you're not gonna just state obviously what you're going through or anything like that. I think that was my main point of separation from the book. I don't think the blurb does it very well either. Like, I don't think it describes what happens very well, because I feel like it's more about exploring family dynamics. There is a very small line of romance in it, but it is definitely more about like mother and daughter dynamics, understanding that your mom isn't just like a mum, like she's got her own stuff going on as well. Like, there's a lot more to unpack usually. And I did really like some of our characters. Like, I felt like if I was going to connect to anyone, I would really connect to Caroline, who was the older sister. I just thought she was really demonstrated just putting up and like having to step into that role and be the older sister a lot. Ruby really annoyed me. I'm not gonna lie, she really, really annoyed me for most of the book. And it was a fine story, but again, I just felt like we didn't have heaps of a plot going on. I think there could have been more depth to the plot, and that would have helped a lot as well. It just felt like a really great narrative, but we needed more to make it like a story, if that makes sense. I don't know, that doesn't really make sense, Freya, but anyway. I liked it, and I'm glad we got it off my TBR, and like I've read it now, I know what it's like, and I'm glad that I read another book by Kristen Hanna. I will say her writing is really, really easy to read. It's super digestible. You can just kind of binge this in one sitting, I reckon. It's also really, really big font, as I said, so this one was a very easy book to read. I definitely want to read more by Kristen Hanna. I think next I would love to read maybe like The Great Alone. I'm kind of most drawn to that one, so we'll see if I might try and move on to that one. And then I've heard great things about The Women as well. Yeah, I think I'd give it a 3 stars. Like, it wasn't a bad book by any means. I just wanted more. I wanted a lot more from our characters, from our plot. I wanted more emotionally. And I feel like I know that Kristen Hanna is capable of doing that. I know that this was one of her earlier books though, so that makes a lot of sense. That brings us to the end of this reading vlog. 3 books down. I feel like they were all very different books. We had very different reactions to all of them, but all great reads. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm definitely going to keep doing this series. It's probably one of my favorite vlogs to film. Let me know some anticipated books that are on your TBR. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching to the end if you have. It truly means the world to me. We both love you so much, and we'll see you in my next video.